Ahoy hoy, Druss here, and welcome back to Darwin Reforged server. And today I'm going to be showcasing a plot by Napoleon Born to Party, or Nap as myself and most of the other players on Darwin know him. Now this is Nap's master plot for which he achieved his master badge in architecture, and as we travel through the plot and explore it, it'll become very obvious very quickly as to why it was fully deserving of the accolade master. So to begin, this is a refinery that's under construction, so it's a mix between a refinery and a building site really, and it's obviously set in a hotter area, a desert or some such, and the plot itself is largely focused on exterior detail of builds and also machinery and vehicles, that sort of thing. And it's all done absolutely excellently. Nap himself is very, very good at kind of large scale industrial builds. There are one or two others that spring to mind in the book that I would categorize as having the same skill set. There are others of course, but they are the ones that immediately spring to mind. So we'll start out at the edge of the plot, and Nap has very cleverly used blocks to spell bus, so there's very obviously a bus stop here. The roads drive on the right, which is rather uncomfortable to my Irish sensibilities, where we drive on the left. And as you can see here, like even his trucks, his vehicles are absolutely excellent. A nice truck with big trailer there. As I said, the bus stop. Lamps, very, very clever use of blocks to show and to display modern life. And a big exterior wall that are so often seen on construction sites, where it's just a temporary wall prior to the building site opening up officially. And small details such as dirt being brought out onto the road from the wheels and the tracks of the heavier vehicles. As you can see, this is going to be called the Foxconn Refinery. And just outside we have a few more vehicles. So as we enter, you've got some traffic lights, again use of the player heads. And Nap himself, by the look of it, is sitting inside opening up the barrier to the vehicles. We have some shipping containers. Again, very, very innovative use of blocks. And the shipping containers, surprisingly enough, contain stuff. So we've got, stuff obviously that's needed for construction of the site. Now we're moving forward. Really, really beautiful work on the vehicles, Nap. So we have a big JCB here, fairly obvious, on tracks with the big claw. And alongside that we have some skips. One old and rusty and some newer ones. And again another vehicle. I'm not entirely sure what all these vehicles are, but that's only because my own career never focused on construction, I'm afraid. It looks like another JCB with another digger on front. It's a digger of some nature. Over here we have a small office by the look of it. A small canteen or something along those lines. The road is obviously, it's very well transitioned into the sand, which can be quite difficult to do for the palette that Nap chose, set as it is in a desert. Alongside here we just have some vehicles parked up, and again some shipping containers and some silos of some nature. Lovely, lovely attention to detail and for the overall shape of them. And this site, as you can see, and this plot is very much displays a frozen moment in time where people are working, moving things like this tank here onto the bottom of the trailer that the truck is towing. And this itself, a magnificent crane with struts to support it with the heavy load that it bears. Again, as I said, the plot itself displaying a frozen moment in time as this JCB offloads dirt and earth into the back of another truck. Again, small details like the smaller truck, which would typically, on a normal site, this truck would be large, but with the size of the master plots and the sheer scale of Nap's other machinery, this truck is actually, it comes across as very, very small, which is, I suppose, funny in a way, given that on a normal plot it would be quite a large vehicle. I have to move a little bit more slowly here. The plot itself is very intensive on my shaders, or my actual processor, my GPU, I suppose. And again, just wonderful work here of a building being put together for the refinery. Very good use of blocks to display various pipes going here and there. And look at this, the foundations of another building with rebar underneath and a mixer truck, a cement mixer truck, dumping cement into it. Very, very clever. There is another one of those that I'll show you. And again, fairly obviously either concrete blocks or piping. And just look at that, it speaks volumes. It really does have the atmosphere of a heavy industrial site. The type which to be perfectly frank, I'm not that familiar with, because again, my own life experience hasn't brought me to anything like this, but it sparks my imagination, and it makes me feel that this is incredibly accurate to real life. Small details again, like this here where you have stairs and platforms for people to work on and walk on. Just again, small little details like that that bring life to the plot. A gigantic pillar of some nature. Again, Nap, I apologise because I don't really understand what the purpose of most of these buildings are, and again, it's not really necessary that I do. You don't really need to fully understand the purpose of this plot to just enjoy it and to appreciate the level of detail that Nap put into each and every single one of the buildings and the structures that he chose to place where he did. You know, it does tell a story that everything has been very, very considered and deliberately put in place. These roads obviously a little more tarred, a little more complete than the ones where the construction is happening. And a huge crane. There are several huge cranes, and unfortunately my render distance can't show them here, but hopefully it'll come into view. Yep, absolutely, and I can only apologize about that, as this gigantic huge crane lifts a silo into place. Again, more trucks, and really, really wonderful work on the actual vehicles themselves. Oops, I'm a bit stuck there. Apologies, I was just checking to see that my frame rate wasn't dropping through the floor. Again, some lovely little detail as the earth is pulled out onto the tarmac road. And again, I assume, but I could be wrong, that these weights here are to counterbalance the sheer weight of the object or the silo that this crane is lifting. Again, very, very considered, very, very deliberate, and very, very well thought out. And look at these, look at the spherical nature of these, which is incredibly difficult to achieve. In normal Minecraft especially, in Conquest we do have the block choice and the block variations that allow us to create a far smoother sphere-like object like this, which is, again, is one of the advantages of the mod pack that we use. And again, wonderful use of piping here. Fantastic, really, really well made. And another beautiful, beautiful piece of machinery with a small mini crane on it. I suppose that is a mini crane. I've occasionally seen those driving a road. And this is another one that I did want to point out. We have a vast, vast silo farm here, and this dumper truck is dispensing cement into this vehicle here, which is a gigantic hose and has a nozzle that's spitting out cement to fill this area, this foundation here, with, again, that's indicated by the rebar underneath. Again, really, really clever use of blocks, and again, just showing that Nap was very, very deserving of the Master Badge for Architecture. Small little details like this again, a small trailer that's just been left disused at the moment but ready for use and positioned very well at the side of a road. Again, just incredibly clever use of the plot and use of vehicles and that sort of thing to increase the immersion and the realism of the area. And as you look up, you can see the sheer vast scale of, number one, the plot, and number two, Nap's vision of it. Small buildings here that are clearly under construction. So yes, Nap, well done. This plot, though it does kill my frame rate and to visit, is well worth the visit. And I would strongly encourage everybody, number one, who's on Darwin and may not have seen this plot yet, to visit it. Or if you have never been on Darwin, why not download the mod pack, hop on play.darwinreforged.com and come and visit us. This plot itself can be visited on Warp Refinery. I'll leave all the necessary details in the video description, but yes, it's magnificent in all ways, and again, I'm fairly gobsmacked at this sheer skill level that Napoleon Bonaparte has. Nap, the work is a credit to you, so well done, great job. And I shall leave it there before my poor potato laptop fries completely. But if you've watched the video, thank you very, very much for watching, and I hope to see you on Darwin Reforged. But until next time, stay frosty and goodbye.